I am going to teach you how to create a recipe and track your macros from that. I know it's easy to track your macros when you have a plate with a protein, a carb, and a vegetable. That's pretty easy, but where it gets a little bit more tricky and where people usually throw in the towel is when you have a dish that's a little bit more complicated, like such a soup or a chili or a stew, something that, you know, you put all the ingredients together and then you have to take your serving out of that. So I am going to teach you that today. I am going to make a butternut squash chicken and bacon stew. Okay, so I'm going to access MyMacros Plus app and go into the recipe features where I'm going to create a new recipe. I'm going to import the name of my recipe, and I'm not going to worry too much about the amount of servings right now. That's something that I'm going to touch on at the end. So let's go ahead and add all of our ingredients. Now I choose to add my ingredients from the custom and favorite section simply because I know that they have been imported accurately because I did them myself. Like I said, let's add our ingredients one at a time, and we're not going to worry about quantities at this point. We're simply adding a list of ingredients that is going to create our recipe. In this case, I have some onions, some celery, some garlic, and all that jazz. Now this is where it gets fun. For people that like to create recipes, you get to add the amount of food that you want. So for example, in this case, I'm adding all the chicken that I have. I did not want to waste any chicken, so I have 450 grams of chicken. And then I'm adding some bacon that I had pre-cooked and drained, which was 30 grams of bacon. So at this point, I'm going to go in the app and update the amounts from the ingredients I had already added. So I'm adding 450 grams of chicken and 30 grams of bacon. Now I'm going to continue putting my recipe together without being restricted by following, a recipe from a blog or a book. I'm really letting my imagination and my creativity flow through, and as I add my ingredients, I go ahead and update the app, as you can see here, with the amount. So for example, my onions, I had 130 grams of onions, and so on with all my ingredients. I like to add lots of herbs and spices, which I do not track. As you can see, I am really able to create a recipe that I know I'm going to like with the amount of food that I know is going to yield a dish that I enjoy. Once your recipe is completely finished and ready to serve is when we're going to measure our portion size and our macro for individual serving. So we're going to start by taking the entire recipe and pouring it into a serving bowl and measure the total weight of our recipe. From that total weight, we're going to select a serving size that we find to be appropriate, and we're going to use our trusty calculator and divide the total amount by the weight of one serving. That gives me the amount of servings, which I can in turn go into the app and update what we had at the start with the 4.13 servings, and that will yield the total macros per serving. So in this case, for one serving, we have about 6.5 grams of fat, 30 grams of carbs, and a whopping 35 grams of protein. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it really helpful.